NASCAR Coast to Coast coming at you on this Thursday, August the 28th, as we have our first champion joining us here on this edition of NASCAR Coast to Coast. That's right, Bowman Gray Stadium wrapped up their championship year, their 76th season of racing. And we've got Brandon Ward joining us now, a two-time modified track champion, but he says he's not done yet. There may be another championship he's going for. We'll have that interview coming up shortly. Plus, we've got a wide range of short track racing on your calendar for this weekend. Plus, we'll recap the Oxford 250 and a thriller in weekly series action. And the NASCAR's Advanced Auto Parts weekly national title chase is going down to the wire. We'll let you know where your driver stands coming up here on NASCAR Coast to Coast. And it all starts right now. Welcome to NASCAR Coast to Coast. Once again, this is your host, Chris Wilner, MRN Pit Reporter, and kicking us off here this week on our edition of NASCAR Coast to Coast, it is now two-time modified champion at Bowman Gray Stadium. Just wrapped up the title last weekend, Brandon Ward. Brandon, congratulations. How are we doing this morning?
Well, thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. Doing good. Hope you guys are, and just glad to be on with you this morning.
Let's talk about Saturday night. Obviously, you came in with the points lead, but, I mean, what was it like just finally notching that second championship? I know you and your team have worked so hard this season. It's always a stacked field at Bowman Gray each and every year, but what does this title mean, and how good did it feel on Saturday night?
Well, it was great to finally get that season behind us and get the championship again. But it has been a stacked field all year long. A lot of competition, full car counts every single week. So it's been tough. It's been very tough. Long season. We've had a great season though. All these guys have worked so hard. So it's always nice to win, whether it's races, championships. It's nice to win. It's nice to win for these guys and to win a second championship and for them to be able to showcase their hard work here at KP Speed Motorsports. It's always very fun for me. It was a cool feeling Saturday night.
You mentioned the difficult competition, but how difficult is it to win a championship when it on a weekly basis the format may be different, right? We could have twin features one night, we could have double points, we could have 150 lap, 200 lap, 50 laps. How difficult is it to maximize each and every weekend with it not just being a traditional, okay, we're running the same amount of laps every weekend?
Right. It's very tough. It's tough in one aspect because of what you say, that the different races that they run. We open the year up with the 200 lap race, the Hayes Jewelers 200, which is the longest race of the season. We end it with a 150. We have about 500 lap events through the season. We have several twin 25s. We have a couple twin 50s. So it's the twin 50s and longer races. We have the cone. The twin 25s, we don't have a restart cone, so it's all single file restarts. So little something that's different there. The second the second 25 lappers are all redraw races. So the winner
Yeah.
pulls a pill, you could be 16th. So it's the format there makes it very tough just because of the way it's set up, but also you're having to have setups for these race cars for multiple different length races. And then this year we've had another curveball thrown at us just with the racetrack changing. We've saw the track change more, I feel like, this year from the beginning of the season to the end than we ever have. So that being said as well, that's also another obstacle that you have to work around.
What do you think contributed to the track change? I mean, I know the last couple of years in the off season it's been repave, and then we did another touch up job. But what it was it about the racetrack changing this year? Maybe what led to that? You think?
Well, I think it's a couple things. We've just saw the track in general after this last time it was paved. It had a lot of grip for a couple seasons. This year, it really started to fall off from that new pavement feel, so to speak. So the track itself lost grip really from the time we ran the Clash race back in February all the way through. I just never, we kind of waited on the racetrack to come around because a lot of times it will about, right before the middle of summer, you'll see the track start to rubber up and grip up. It just never really did this year. I think part of that is just the pavement getting more wear on it from where they repaved it this last time. Some of it's been the weather. We've had a lot of rain around here this year during the week, and just I don't think we had one single weekend, hardly, maybe a couple, that we just didn't have some sort of threat of a little bit of rain coming in, or it would rain early in the day. So I think think the weather and the rain kept a lot of the rubber washed off the racetrack this year. So just a couple different things. It got really hot through the middle of summer, which makes the track slick too. So just a few different things there that I feel like contributed to it.
So we just wrapped up the 76th season for the stadium, which blows my mind as it continues to be NASCAR's longest running racetrack. But was there anything different about this year? Obviously, we had the clash with NASCAR Cup Series earlier in February that maybe drew a lot of eyeballs on the stadium that otherwise maybe wouldn't have batted an eyelash. So have you noticed maybe an uptick in the vibe around Bowman Gray Stadium this year? And how would you assess just overall this 2025 season of racing at the stadium?
Yeah, definitely. I think, as you said, it's been a NASCAR weekly series track for all these years now. But with NASCAR kind of stepping back in and ramping their involvement up with Bowman Gray, starting out with the Clash, it drew a lot of attention there. It seems like the last couple of seasons there's been a lot of hype behind the racetrack, and everybody was excited for the Cup cars to come back. That was a big thing. I think anytime that happens, it does draw attention um to a weekly. You don't see a lot of Cup races anymore come to a weekly track that races every week for the short track division. So with that happening, I feel like that definitely brought attention just nationwide back to Bowman Gray. As if it hasn't had a lot, it just brought even more with the Cup cars coming there for the Clash this past season, and then announcing that they're coming back again next year. So that I think all that involved has helped, to bring a lot of hype back to Bowman Gray.
All right, well, that leads me to my next question. We saw Tim and Bert do it last year. Any opportunities to get behind the wheel of a Cup car coming up in February? Or at least you're going to run your modified in February?
Well, yeah, we'll definitely do that, and there has been some discussion about possibly trying to do the Cup race, but right now, I don't have anything concrete. I would love to do it just to have the opportunity if it worked out and it was the right opportunity. But we'll definitely be back there with the modified. We kind of push everything on the back burner to get through that Bowman Gray season, and now that that's behind us, we're going to, as far as what's going on for next year and talking about some of those things is definitely back in the discussions on the Monday competition meetings now. So we'll see what we can get worked out and what's going to happen.
I think Bowman Gray and NASCAR missed an opportunity where the champion should have an automatic seat for the following February, right? I mean, it makes sense. You
Well,
just locked up
it
a
would be nice,
championship.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's something that would definitely be nice. It would be something that would be fun to do, especially at a track that we've got so many laps at. Just
Yeah.
like Bert and Tim did last year. So yeah, if the opportunity comes about, to come off of a championship season and to have the opportunity to do that would be something we would definitely entertain if the right situation comes about for it.
All right, so we always talk to champions, and typically it marks the end of the season, right? We're gonna go celebrate or take some time, then evaluate next year. Oh no, you're not done yet. It was interesting reading your post race comments about the fact that your team is a late model stock, so you're still in contention for a national championship on the weekly side. So how quickly, or I guess how short lived were the celebrations after the weekend? Because knowing you got a lot more racing to come up.
Yeah, it really was. So first and foremost, the goal was to win the Bowman Gray Stadium Championship this year. That was the thing that we said at the beginning of the year. That was a goal we wanted to try to do that and win the Hayes Jewelers 200. Luckily, we were able to do those two things. Now we as I was saying earlier, we kind of pushed some things back to get the Bowman Gray season behind us. Now that it is Monday, we started discussions about trying to run some late model races at some different racetracks, finishing out this year. We're in contention for the national title. It's not something that we really set out to do, but now that we're in that top five and have been for most of the year, and Bowman Gray's behind us, we don't have it all quite ready to announce yet. There's still some things we're working out with the details of it, but we are going to try to run some late model stock races to try to just finish out the season and see what happens. See how many points we can accumulate and just see where it falls. It's an honor to just have the chance to race for it. So we'll see what happens. Yeah.
So what goes into deciding that? I mean, I guess as you look at, I'm sure you check the points throughout the season as you're running the Bowman
Right.
Gray Stadium schedule. But at what point are you like, maybe we should start lining some of this up, or oh, I'm kind of surprised I'm still up here. I mean, I guess at what point of the season do you really pay attention to that and make those decisions? Because obviously now it's okay. Now we got to put a schedule together.
Yeah, in the last 4 or 5 weeks, we've started looking into it more. And even now, you have to kind of you have to look at what the car count is. So we're in a position now. They only count 14 races. You can run as many as you want, obviously, but they only count 14. So I think a lot of us in that top five in the national points are at this same point. We're having to start dropping top five finishes. So we need to put ourselves in position to go run a race that has a full field so that we're eligible for max points. And honestly, we need to have ourselves in a position where we can win those races because that's what it's going to take to accumulate the points that it's going to take to win that national championship.
So when you look at a potential calendar, I know you guys are still working on stuff. What kind of regions, what kind of racetracks are you looking at as far as, okay, this has the potential of having a full car count? I know just as soon as this weekend with Hickory and the Bobby Isaac, I would assume that's got to be maybe one of them. But what else kind of sticks out as far as racetracks you like to look at?
Well, we were definitely looking at the one this weekend with the Bobby Isaac at Hickory. We're looking at the season finale at South Boston. Those are two that jump out to us that we feel like will have the car count and races that could potentially gain you enough points to put you where you need to be. Those are the two that are kind of on the schedule at the moment that we're really looking into. So there's a few more as far as those go. We're just trying to look at car count. Of course, Wake County runs on Friday nights around here. So just trying to watch what the car count is going to be like for the remainder of the year for these races and try to put ourselves in position to be able to gain max points.
And the late model that your team has, it doesn't have a too shabby of a crew chief either. Jason Sarvis, a six-time Pro Cup winner. So, what impact has he brought to the table? I know Trevor Ward's kind of been an ear on your guys' program as well. So, you got some good people behind you as well.
Yeah, I really do, and that's what makes this so great is the people that I get to work with. Will Spa, crew chief, and for me coming back and being with me the last few years has been great. We won a lot of races together. Then when we started this late model program, well, really, you bring Trevor into the mix. He's been racing out of our shop for the last couple of seasons, and all of us working with Trevor and his guys. And then Kevin decides to start a late model portion of our program. And then bringing a guy like Jason Sarvis in has been big because, when you bring someone in like Jason, who had such a successful driving career, past Hooters Pro Cup champion, winning a lot of races and late models and Pro Cup cars himself driving. So, you bring that experience level along with his work ethic and what he knows about these race cars. It's been really cool to work with him. I got to drive a race. I got to drive the late model car back at the Cars Tour event at Caraway and work with Jason there. So that was something that's really cool for me, and hopefully I'm going to get that opportunity to work with him again as a driver crew chief scenario for a couple more races this season as well. But he's brought a lot of a lot to the table. And just having him there to build that program around him is going to be really cool.
We see drivers bounce around from different series all the time, but for you who focuses a lot of your early part of the season on the Bowman Gray Championship in the modified, now going to run some late model races, how much you have to change your driving style? Do you have to change your driving style, or what are the biggest differences? Okay, you got to like teach your brain. I'm in a late model stock and not a ground pounder.
Yeah, you do. And when I got back behind the wheel of the late model car at Caraway earlier this year, I got to experience that because I got to thinking about it. I had not been in a late model stock car since 2012.
Wow.
Had not competed in one full time since 2006. So I raced the super late models for a good while there, then into the modifieds, and those two cars have a lot of the same characteristics with the horsepower to weight and having to worry about tire management is big with the supers and the modifieds. When you get in the late model cars, they don't have as much power. They've got a harder tire. You can race harder. You don't have to worry so much about the car taking a big swing throughout the race. So that was something that was a learning curve for me, was just learning that okay, you can keep these cars freed up a little more, you can drive them harder throughout the whole race. And so it is it's definitely a difference. In over the years, I've raced so many different types of race cars, so many different touring series that I've had to get used to adapting to different things. with the modifieds have kind of landed there and been a part of that for the last several years. So a little bit of a learning curve to get back into a different type of car and having fenders back around me again. And but it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. Enjoyed running that race, and it's exciting to me to potentially have the opportunity here to run some more late model races and get back in something that is different and challenging in different ways because it's a different scenario for me. So definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting for sure. And it's going to start as soon as this weekend at Hickory Motor Speedway. Before we let you go, next year, as far as modifieds, I'm assuming you're going to go after another track championship at Bowman Gray. But does the modified go away completely this year, or are there maybe some special opportunities if the schedule allows you'd like to go run the rest of the year?
If the schedule allows, there's definitely a couple more modified tour races we would like to run. I'd love to be in the Smart Tour race at North Wilkesboro and the
Oh,
Wheeling
yeah.
Tour race at Martinsville. Those are two races that we definitely have on the radar as far as potential races to run for us as well. So yeah, hopefully get to finish the year out and run a couple more mod races and then run a few more late model races and be able to end the season doing both.
Well, congratulations on the track championship. Best of luck as you finish out the year in chasing a weekly series national championship. And I'll get to work here at the NASCAR HQ here in Concord. See if we can't find you a cup ride for February at Bowman Gray.
Absolutely, I appreciate it. Yeah, work on that on your end,
Yeah,
and we'll keep working on our end, see what we can make happen. That'd be great.
you got it, buddy. Brandon Ward, congratulations. I appreciate your time, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Two-time track champion of the modified, Brandon Ward, joining us. Coming up next, plenty more to cover, including your weekly series national championship standings. Your Brandon's in the top 5. We'll see who is leading at this point of the year, plus the schedule and a lot more coming up next on Coast to Coast.
3, 2, 1, start your engine!
The NASCAR channel is streaming now, exclusively on Tubi.
Tell them we got it.
Go deeper into NASCAR with 24/7 news, documentaries, and explore the vault of timeless NASCAR stories and unforgettable races. From crushing defeats to the thrill of victory.
Go, baby!
The NASCAR channel, always on, always free. Only on Tubi.
Welcome back to NASCAR Coast here on the Motor Racing Network. Great chatting with Brandon Ward, and lots more still to come. I'd be curious to see what kind of ground he can make up in that NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts Weekly National Championship title chase. He's not far out, within 30 points, I believe. So still anything can happen. But again, you've got less than a month. September 21st is the last time you can accumulate points toward that championship. So he's going to get back after it. We'll see what kind of races he gets into. And like I said, we'll see maybe he gets a Cup Series ride for the Clash at Bowman Gray coming up in February. Over the weekend, you may have missed the ARCA Menard Series Badger 200 at Madison International Speedway, that fast half mile in the state of Wisconsin, and it was Max Reeves, the youngster, again, 15 years of age, gets his second ARCA Menard Series national win, his 5th platform win of the season. Of course, started real hot on the east side of things, the ARCA Menard Series East calendar. But comes to a racetrack, he had little experience. Ran an all-star, or an ASA, late model race there a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago. Finished 11th, didn't really get to do a whole lot, and then shows up with the ARCA car and dominates for his second win of the season. LeVar Scott, Brendan Queen just had to duke it out for second. LeVar getting the best of Brendan in that title chase, finishing second. Queen finished in the 3rd spot. And Isabella Robusto, another solid top 5 day for her. She comes home for Venturini Motorsports in the 4th position. So the championship continues to tighten back up, but it's still Brendan Queen with the lead as the series will hit their second and final dirt race of the year at the DuQuoin State Fairgrounds in Illinois, coming up with the Southern Illinois 100 on Sunday. Yeah, this Sunday, August 31st. So excited to see what they do back on the dirt. It was a good one at the Illinois State Fairgrounds. So we'll see what happens here in DuQuoin coming up this weekend. Some other winners over the weekend that you may have missed. Congratulations to Austin Terrace. Your 22-year-old got his first Oxford 250 in the 56th running of the Oxford, or 52nd running of the Oxford 250, and he had to outduel two of the best. 2-time champ Eddie McDonald and 6-time Pro All-Star Series champion DJ Shaw. Both of those drivers finished top 5, but it was the 22-year-old Austin Terrace who got his first Oxford 250 win in that classic. Congratulations. Kind of an up-and-down day for a lot of drivers. Had to cycle from the back to the front. But again, the cream rises to the top, and I mentioned DJ and Eddie were right there at the end, but it was Austin who had great strategy and a really great race car that got him the win. Trevor Ward, we just heard him. He runs out of the Brandon Ward stable as far as the race team goes, but runs the late model stock and pro late model on a time or two occasion, but he's picking up things here in the back half of the season as he won in a thriller at South Boston Speedway in their weekly event to gain points toward the national championship. A 3-wide finish at the end between Peyton Sellers and Landon Pendleton, and it was Trevor Ward, a former winner of the Martinsville 300 out there with the Valley Star Credit Union 300, getting a win at South Boston Speedway. That was a good one. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go to NASCAR Regional on social. They've got the replay for you. And then, of course, you heard from Brandon Ward, our champion, but congratulations to Tim Brown, Tommy Neal, and Brad Lewis, who won season finale races at the stadium over the weekend. And your champions, in addition to Brandon Ward, in the modified, you've got 19-year-old Brandon Sykes winning in street stock in the tightest points battle ever, and Chase Robertson scored his second sportsman title of his career at Bowman Gray Stadium. And it wasn't without controversy. There was a sportsman driver that got suspended for the remainder of the year, although the year is over. We'll see how it carries over to next year, but more issues in the tech shed for the sportsman drivers. It has been a story at Bowman Gray, and yet another one getting thrown out after multiple tech center infractions there in the sportsman category. So lots to follow up on going into next year. Some news you may have missed. Obviously, last week after Coast to Coast aired, the NASCAR Cup Series, Truck Series, and O'Reilly Auto Parts O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. I got to get used to saying that, not Xfinity. They released their national schedules next year, but what it did started to include is we're getting a peek behind the curtain of where the ARCA Menard Series are going to race. Obviously, Daytona will kick off the season for the national tour, but surprise, surprise, or maybe to no surprise, the ARCA Menard Series is going back to Chicagoland Speedway next year on July 4th weekend when NASCAR returns for the first time in some 6 or 7 years to Chicagoland Speedway. This will be the first time ARCA's run there since 2019. And also added to the schedule for ARCA next year, Pocono's back on the schedule. First time since 2023 that we'll have ARCA cars a part of Pocono weekend. Of course, the trucks can't make it that weekend, so ARCA to Pocono for a triple header with the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series and the Cup Series. So we'll get a better look at what the ARCA schedule looks like here in the coming weeks, I'm sure, as that gets rolled out. But I know those two new tracks for next year have a lot of people excited about the ARCA Menard Series in 2026. Also, we heard from Brandon Ward talking about his title chase in the NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts Weekly National Championship. Here's your standings with less than a month to go. Chase Johnson, the rookie, leading by 12 points over former national champ Jacob Gady. So that is your top two in the title chase for the Division I National Championship. David Hebert sits third, 26 points back. And I mentioned Brandon Ward, your newly crowned two-time Bowman Gray Stadium Modified champ, is 26 points back. So still plenty of racing to go. Again, less than a month, but a lot of big races, including this weekend at Hickory and a lot of local shows still to come. So we'll see how that changes. But Chase Johnson and Jacob Gady were tied at one point as late as last week. So it's been nip and tuck between those two. Johnson, of course, the mainstay at Dominion Raceway, has 15 feature wins in 24 feature starts, again, all at Dominion. So trying to rack up a national championship for the rookie, but he's got a lot of competition still to go. Again, cutoff for points is September the 21st. On your schedule, as far as weekly racing here and regional racing on NASCAR Coast to Coast, here's a look at what's on the calendar. Some things that stood out to me is the ARCA Menard Series. Of course, we just mentioned going back to the dirt at DuQuoin State Fairgrounds on Sunday. 8:30 p.m. start on FS1. Brendan Queen, again, has that championship lead, this time 34 points over LeVar Scott. But probably the bigger story in this is your dirt winner at the Illinois State Fairgrounds in Springfield, Brent Cruz, is back in the field. This is huge because if he's able to go back-to-back on both dirt races, he will capture a $20,000 bonus courtesy of Hungry Hen's Dirt Double. That's kind of the incentive if you can sweep the two dirt races this year. So he got the Springfield mile win in the Allen Crow 100 a couple of weeks ago. We'll see if Brent Cruz can go back-to-back on the dirt, and certainly will be one of the favorites with a lot of his dirt experience And, he led this race every lap last year, so why not pick the cruise missile to try to get it done? He'll be aboard the number 70 for Nitro Motorsports, who's had a lot of success this year with many different drivers, including Cruz. And Jade Avedisian is getting set to make her ARCA Menard Series debut this weekend. The former Power Eye winner, National Midget winner with Extreme Outlaw Midgets. She's, of course, been at the Chili Bowl, so a lot of dirt experience for Jade as she makes her return to the dirt, this time in an ARCA car for the first time. She'll be in the 25 for Venturini Motorsports. So going to be really exciting to see the ARCA cars on dirt for the final time, again on Sunday, August 31st. NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, they're back in action with the Toyota Mod Classic 150 out Oswego Speedway coming up on Saturday, 8 o'clock on Flow Racing, and that championship continues to be hot and heavy. Austin Beers 10 points up on Justin Bonsignor as they kind of turn the corner into the stretch run of the 2025 season. Patrick Emmerling's going to be one of the favorites, though, coming in as he won this race last year. And, of course, he sits near the top of the standings in the third spot. And we'll see what happens this weekend. It is a difficult racetrack to master. Certainly, I think tire conservation is going to be one of those keys, just like it is on most racetracks, but Oswego's pretty challenging. So the Mod Classic 150 coming up Saturday. Of course, we turn the page pretty soon. We're going to get to talk about the Martinsville race coming up. New Hampshire still on the schedule, and, of course, North Wilkesboro. So a lot still coming up for the Tour and just for modified racing in general, because the Smart Tour has that modified race out at North Wilkesboro coming up as well. So the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour back in action. We'll see if Justin Bonsignor can surpass Austin Beers in the championship title chase. Out west, we mentioned ARCA is going to be on the dirt. Well, the ARCA West Stars are going to be out in the Pacific Northwest this weekend, and the Motor Racing Network will have a split crew. We'll have a crew in Darlington and a crew up in Portland for the ARCA Menard Series West Portland 112 coming up on Friday afternoon, August 29th. This one's going to air 7 p.m. Eastern Time, or 5 p.m. local out there at Portland, and it is a loaded entry list. The final road course race for the ARCA West Championship this year. We've got Thomas Annunziata back after winning at Lime Rock on debut for Nitro Motorsports. Christian Eckes, who of course is out there for the NASCAR Xfinity Series, he's going to double dip as well, get some extra laps on Portland. He's going to be in the field. And the Biff, yes, Greg Biffle, for the first time, is going to tackle the left and rights at Portland. That was kind of a shocker for all of us that saw the entry list come out earlier this week. So Greg Biffle going to be a part of this one, plus Alon Day. We had him on the show a few weeks ago, a road racing expert, William Sawalich, doing double duty. And, of course, can't count out Mr. Dale Quarterly, one of our road racing experts as well. So pretty star-studded field for the ARCA Menard Series West Portland 112. You can listen to it live on MRN, 7 p.m. Eastern Time from Portland. And again, we'll see what happens. And we don't know the future of Portland on this schedule because NASCAR, O'Reilly Auto Parts Series next year, or Xfinity this year, will not be going back next year. So we'll see if ARCA still has a place in Portland. Do they double up maybe with IndyCar? We'll find out. But certainly these ARCA drivers are going to be motivated to win in what could be the final time for at least the short term in Portland. And by the way, your championship battle, Trevor Huddleston is up 7 on Kyle Keller. Tanner Reif is 15 back in the standings. So top 3 separated by 15 points. Could be anyone's game as we go out to the Pacific Northwest this weekend. Some other races on your calendar you may want to pay attention to. The Smart Modified Tour, their second half of 2025 begins. Of course, they take that big break to allow those to run for the Bowman Gray Championship. But now that that's in the books, Smart Modified is back at they have a doubleheader this weekend. Coastal Plains coming up on Friday in Jacksonville, North Carolina. Then it's a quick 45-minute jaunt to Carteret County on Sunday. So a doubleheader the weekend for the Smart Tour. We'll see your normal host of characters there as well. Ryan Newman and a lot of others as well. I believe Baldwin will be running again as well. So Smart Modifieds getting back to their busy part of the back half of the season. Cars Tour at Florence. I know a lot of folks headed to Darlington and Southern 500 weekend. We're going to be making a pit stop Friday night at Florence Motor Speedway, and rightfully so, because Dale Jr. is back behind the wheel of his number 8 late model stock this weekend at a place he almost won at last year in November, one of the Crown Jewel events as well, where he finished in the top 5. So doubleheader for Cars Tour with the Pro late model stocks. Of course, all your heavy hitters will be there as well as Connor Hall continues to try to win a championship in the Cars Late Model Stock Tour. Ben Mayer, of course, leading in the Pro Late Models. But again, big eyes on Florence because of NASCAR weekend just down the street at Darlington. Again, that race on Friday. for the Cars Tour. And then your weekly racing calendar looks like this. Friday at Stafford up there in Connecticut. Championship night at Autodrome Granby in Quebec. We've got Saturday modifieds at Riverhead. The Bobby Isaac Memorial at Hickory. That's going to be a well-attended late model race. If you're in the Charlotte area, you may want to venture up to Hickory Motor Speedway. I know Brandon Ward expects to be there as well. Plus Sunday, it is Labor Day weekend, so we are having some races on Sunday, including Labor Day Classics at Thunder Road in Barry, Vermont, Slinger, and a lot more. So a lot of short track racing to fill your palate this weekend on a holiday weekend on Labor Day weekend. But if you are in tune for the NASCAR races, which you hope you are as well, Motor Racing Network will be your home again as well with not one, but two different broadcast locations, 2,300 miles apart from each other between Darlington and Portland, Oregon. But first, it's Portland with the Portland 112 on Friday for the ARCA West Series. Again, that race 7 p.m. Eastern time on MRN. Saturday, we've got a big calendar for you. Practice and pro qualifying for the NASCAR Cup Series at Darlington for the Southern 500 is bright and early this week. 9 a.m. on Saturday. Have some coffee and race cars with us. Listen to our practice and qualifying show. Then keep it there at 11:30 a.m. It is the Craftsman Truck Series playoff opener, the Sober or Slammer 200 from Darlington at 11:30 Eastern on MRN. And then a late afternoon, early nightcap at 7 p.m. Pacific Office Automation 147 for the NASCAR Xfinity Series out at Portland. And then that all leads into Sunday, NASCAR Cup Series Cookout. Southern 500 is live with NASCAR Live Race Day at 5 p.m. Eastern to get you set for one of the longest races of the year. In time, it's like 10 or 12 minutes shorter than the Coke 600. But in those of you that have worked the Southern 500 or have been there as a race fan, you know it feels like the longest race of the year. This be a huge test of man and machine and for all these race teams as we get set to open the Cup Series playoffs and the Truck Series playoffs this weekend at Darlington. So wherever you may be, enjoy your weekend of racing, whether it's at the short tracks or tuning us in live on MRN from Darlington and Portland. For Brandon Ward, who joined us this week, and our producer, Pat Jaggers, my name is Chris Wilner. Thank you for tuning in to NASCAR Coast to Coast here on MRN. And, of course, we'll see you next week. Have a good one.